my lovely guest, Miss Gemma from Australia. O'Rourke, am I pronouncing your last name correct, Gemma? O'Rourke?
Ida, the last name is correct. It's Gemma. It's Gemma the first.
Okay, I apologize. Gemma, I need to remember gems, like gems of the heart. Sorry, I apologize for that.
No, don't apologize about it.
Yes.
It's lovely to be here, and thank you for the invite.
I appreciate you coming on. I'm super excited about this, and I know that we're going to have a fabulous show. I'm going to share a short bio of Gemma's, and then at the end of the bio, Gemma will be sharing an acknowledgement and welcome to country. So Gemma is an artist who works in multimedia from painting and sculpture to photography, videography, and performance art. She is a fine art student at the University of Tasmania in Australia, currently enjoying a hiatus due to her sovereign stance regarding jab mandates imposed by the university. Her work explores the vibrancy of matter and the philosophies that are embedded in First Nation ways, being and living. She draws inspiration from her shamanic connection to nature, Mother Earth, the cosmos, her indigenous roots, and the work of quantum physicists and spiritual scientists who examine quantum entanglement, string theory, and superposition in an energetic field that directly correlates with the ancient wisdoms of indigenous cultures globally, that everything is alive, sentient, and connected. That was a little bit of a tongue tie. She is also a metaphysical life coach, healer, shaman, spiritual catalyst, moving into her Dharma as a teacher and conscious way shower after 3 decades in nursing, specializing in critical care, and 10 years in the fitness industry as a group instructor and personal trainer. Gemma's lineage in this lifetime is Celtic Irish and Tasmanian Aboriginal, a Lawana of the Malukadi clan, Malukadi?
Malakadi.
Okay, Malakadi clan, and Southeast.
Lutruwita, Trawana, Tasmania.
Thank you. Those words, some of the Australian words will obviously hold such vibrance for the Aboriginal peoples. Trawana. I apologize. Tasmania, a beautiful heart-shaped island about the size of Hispaniola. I am not doing too well with these words, which is situated 150 miles south of the Great Australian continent, 3,500 miles north of Antarctica. Gemma has traveled intensively in the years prior to 2020, guided by spirit to connect with soul family on multiple continents and to make pilgrimage to sacred sites, high energy and earth chakra points. She is a grid worker, Stargate activator, and peacemaker who feels deep gratitude to be in service at this momentous time in our human history as we accelerate the organic evolution of humanity into the golden era of crystalline consciousness. Please, Gemma, share your acknowledgement and welcome to country, and then we can go forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ida. Large bio, but I would love if everyone could just be centered at the moment and feel their heart, because I'm honouring and acknowledging the ancestors, the Aboriginal ancestors of this beautiful land, the oldest living culture on Mother Earth. The Palawa Pakana people of Lutruwita, Trawana, Tasmania. We honour you and respect you and acknowledge you as the wisdom keepers, along with all other First Nations peoples on Mother Earth, Gaia. And we call in and honour the spirit of place, the sacred land upon which I sit now with you, communing with others around Mother Earth, and this greater region of Nipaluna, and particularly the Muanina and Padarama people of this region, southeast Lutruwita, Truana. So we honour and pay our respects and welcome in the spirit of place for this communication and discussion. And we also honour and acknowledge and pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. May they be the wisdom keepers of their ancestors and move through the heart always. And so it is.
So it is. So it is, so it shall be. Lovely. That was so lovely. Thank you. I'm so excited to hear your stories, for you to elaborate and share more about yourself, and to share with the audience or the listeners now and ones in the future that will be visiting on YouTube. And I don't think, there are, a lot of stuff that I see personally on social media about Australia, and a lot of the challenges that the Australian people and the Aboriginals have gone through over these past few years. And so whatever you feel called to share about, please do. We have plenty of time, and please,
Right.
Gemma. Yeah.
Well, I'd like to start with the heart, because it is the core of all of the information, or the activation that will happen as we speak, and the heart is in quantum terms, it works like the DNA particularly within the heart, but throughout the body, acts like an antenna and a quantum receiver, transmitter, stargate. So what I have found in my artwork is, and in my, this is just my way of living now, but that the ancient ways, the First Nations peoples of all of the countries of the world knew this innately, that everything is alive and sentient and connected, and the physicists who are quantum physicists, who are different to the classic physicists, and we're moving into that more understanding of that now, a quantum understanding of how things work. But even beyond that, and you'll see people talking about the ether. So the quantum entanglement that Indigenous people have with their connection to country, their respect for country, their knowing that country is like them and is them, and they are it. So that is why they've had this great harmonious interaction with it over, tens of thousands of years and longer, and why we look to them for wisdom and ways of living and being that are more in tune with that, with the cycles of nature and the seasons and the rhythms, and the Schumann resonance, which if we get into an entrainment in our heart and activate that harmonic mind-heart coherence, then we're able to step out of and transcend the kind of all the distractions and the programs that are running that keep us trapped in something that's set for us, that it's set for us, that people think that we have no ability to move out of, but we do, because the greatest sovereignty is becoming heart-centered and activating the DNA so that it becomes into a coherent field, a dodeca shape, sacred geometry, where the mind and heart are in coherence, in the love and above. Creating bliss sounds like a bit of a luxury for some. It's like, oh my God, all these or goddess, all these terrible things are happening in the world, and we're struggling with this and with you know, our rights being taken away and censorship and all of those. But the key about this is that when we get the heart activated and spinning the sacred geometry of the DNA and that double helix, which can bend back on itself and with our intention and form this beautiful toroidal field, we become sovereign and free. That's the most potent sovereignty that we can have. And we step out of the programs and the things that are set for us, because we become more clear with our third eye opening, and we're creators. We become the creator of our hologram. Everything feels and looks solid, but it's actually a holographic reality of what's inside of us.
That was beautifully said. I think that you mentioned distraction, and I think that's, I don't mean to harp on that, but that's a huge thing. I mean, it's look over here, no look over there. And it's not just with, politicians and, social or different media outlets and so forth. Like, everybody is vying to have the info, and, and it becomes an information war. And that's what the fourth dimension really is about, is an information war. So I absolutely agree with you. I think for myself, I oscillate up and down in this. But people like yourself, women that I look up to and I admire and I appreciate, and I do. Gemma, I've admired you for a long time. And yeah, I mean that. And
it is reciprocal. It is reciprocal because we're co-creating together, and we all need each other, and it doesn't matter. No one's ahead of the other, or no one's above. We're all. This is the equality of where we all are, and so we're all just walking each other home. I know that phrase has been used and overused, but there so many of our way showers use different words for this ability to move into that full sovereignty and as you describe, a fifth dimensional consciousness. And it's not like I don't waver sometimes into that fourth dimensional, looking around for what's the next bit of information, what's the next, but that, taking our focus back into and going into, using the beautiful gift that meditation is, and stillness,
I know that you are great with that. I mean, I've watched your yoga videos you put on. I haven't seen you put one out for a while, but I mean, I admire you. I'm not a big meditator, Gemma, but you know how, cleaning is a way for me to meditate. I process information, energy, release, go, allow my mind to have a break through just physical, like moving meditation, if that makes sense to you. I do have my moments where I go in stillness and just sit still with myself, but I don't do it for long periods of time. There was a time I did. I don't feel I need to do that now. But I've never really practiced it in the way that you have done it, and so many other people that I admire. And I just but so
moving meditation is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. I used to be an endurance athlete, and so my training was moving meditation, because it was a lot of solo work, but also I was using it to escape. So I was overdoing it, and because it was the only way that I could find peace. That was before I was meditating regularly, consistently. So I agree that moving meditations and dance and yoga and, qigong and every moving, walking, being mindful when we're walking. I do encourage people to move into the stillness kind of meditation, because it offers that it's the pure intention with it. So you're intending to slow all of the over adrenalized state that most people are in. The cortisols and the adrenaline are flooding, and it actually is cumulative. So you don't even know you're in that hypervigilant state all the time, and the eyes you flicker this way and that because what's next? And so yes, moving is great and it's wonderful. Gardening, walking, immersing in bodies of water, because water is a consciousness, just like everything is conscious and sentient. But
well, and also a portal.
Getting into bodies of water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do encourage the meditation, even if it's just for 5 minutes, building up to 10 or 15, and then 20. And doesn't have to be hours of the day. I know friends who do this, and it reflects in the peaceful heartedness that they carry and emanate, and also in their ability to be that anchor for the energies coming in.
Yeah,
it's.
I definitely think that's very important. Walking helps me with that. I just simply have. There's no. I'm not making an excuse. I think everybody has their own way of being able to process and sit still and and what works for them energetically and for their own heart mind cohesion connection. Yeah. Okay, so can we hear a little bit more about Gemma and who you are and what you do and your bloodline and all of that, because I want to really allow people to come into your world for a minute and know who you are. And
that's really sweet, Ida. I was born in Lutruwita, Tasmania. I use two names of the Palawa people here because there is a language. There's no living person who speaks the language, because this little island south of the mainland of Australia was subject to an intentional attempt at genocide, and so it didn't happen. There are thrivers from it, and so the language and lots of the culture was, unfortunately lost, and no living person speaks the language, except for we do have record of it. I mean, there are people speaking and relearning it, but there has been made a sort of conglomerate of the languages of the 9 tribes of Lutruwita, and it's called Palawakani. But there are other ones and other people of the different regions, and my origin is Malakadi around the Huon River, the Tohoon region. So there is one language, but it's been made from all of the others. So other people in other regions are wanting to express their own too. So it's quite an interesting time for that. Right. And people,
can I ask you a question?
Aboriginal people in Australia have been,
but have you always known about your bloodline and your being part of a clan and so forth, or is that no? Okay, I was just curious when you were sharing that. Like, that's
So I knew about my Celtic roots because my name is O'Rourke, and it was a strong through the lineage from the convicts who were sent here from Ireland and England. That came through from there, and it was held very, very dearly by my ancestors on my paternal side, and sort of kept going because there were great grandparents and who still had the culture. They were living the Irish culture here in Lutruwita. So that was one thing that I knew. But then as I became a mature adult, and it was actually after my pop died that we found that his lineage, his maternal lineage, was that his grandmother was an Aboriginal woman of that region. And so but the thing was that such persecution, such stigma, such non-acceptance, and trying to assimilate, one of the ways that the culture was tried to be destroyed was assimilation, so that children were taken from their families and placed in orphanages or placed with foster families,
Sure.
to decimate really the culture and to make everyone white, and so it was hidden by Aboriginal people themselves, by the Palawa here, because it was dangerous to be shown and known for many, many years. And so the increasing sovereignty and claiming of rights and re-emergence and rejuvenation of the culture is not just here in this little island, but across, the greater Aboriginal Australian experience, but still fighting for or intending for and going to realise a treaty, which I don't know if you know, that our brothers and sisters across the Tasman Sea in New Zealand, Aotearoa, and you see they have a name for their country that is Maori, Aotearoa, and that's not the case with Australia. I feel it should be, and we do in this state that I live in. Am I going all over the place?
No, you're fine. I'm just, my mind's going in many places. I mean, I'm picturing, I have visuals as you're telling the story of what all this may look like. And, it's just unfortunate, but I try to not get emotionally charged by, because just all the stuff that's going on with the, wanting to keep certain information suppressed and people that hold spiritual gifts suppressed and hidden away, and you said, I mean, Australia, some suggest that Australia is the oldest on the planet. And then there's others that say, Turkey and different, whatever. I think we all have our place for sure. And so much genocide, so much domination and control. And I really try not to, I mean, I don't have a problem with you voicing whatever it is that you feel passionate about and is in your heart. But at this point, I've just been doing this for so long in my own, not talking about YouTube, but just trying to make sense of everything that I experienced and my own experiences, and then hearing stories from people like yourself and others where I feel like we're coming out of it, even though it still feels a little energetically heavy. Gemma, I think I think that those that are ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I don't tell the story with a grief. I tell it because we learn from the past, we learn from history, and we have to know what has occurred with colonisation, not just in Australia, but all around the world with all First Nations peoples. Colonisation has, unfortunately, intentionally tried to take away their sovereignty, tried to decimate their culture, because they are the keepers of the wisdoms and the holders of country,
right?
Energy. And so this is why the big resurgence. And yes, we are moving out of it. And I don't hold grief about it, even though I have, because reading.
I get it. Yes.
So, but it's a process now of decolonisation around the world, and of indigenizing and giving voice and sovereignty and recognizing our beautiful First Nations people everywhere. So, and
I hope I didn't offend you in any way, Gemma. I wasn't suggesting. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
No. I didn't want you.
No.
I'm just. I wanted to hear that voice of hope from you, that you feel energetically we are moving out of that as well. Yeah.
It's absolutely. But I do feel still to tell the story, because people forget it's only a couple of 100 years that this started occurring here on this continent. Only, after tens of thousands, 60,000 years, the Palawa people have been in Tasmania, Lutruwita. So, but what I did want to share was there are peoples in the Gove Peninsula of northeast Arnhem Land, and they have a very strong capacity and gift for speaking a language through their art. They're the Yolngu, and they have, you would have seen Aboriginal artworks that have a lot of the dot paintings. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so I just wanted to share about that dot painting really, even though dots were used and are on rock markings here in Lutruwita, there was a teacher who went to an outback region of Papunya in the 1970s, and he saw how Aboriginal people would draw in the sand to draw story and to show places and to show spirit. And he got them to do a mural. And so there was a mural on the school wall, but the elders were unhappy because it showed the secret things, the secret language and the secret culture that shouldn't be shown to anyone outside of the tribe. So they dotted over it. So the dot paintings really only, and they are part of a rich and magnificent part of the Aboriginal art culture now. However, I just wanted to share that it's a recently new thing. It's only 50 years ago. And the Yolngu of the northeast Arnhem Land actually would do a lot of the cross hatching, which is a thing from ancient times. So very fine with a single or a double hair of a human hair or an animal hair with a brush, and just very deft and elegant strikes this way and that way to make a crosshatch. I feel to share this because it's relevant to what I'm talking about.
No, you're fine. I'm picturing you are fine, because I'm getting visuals in my mind as you're talking. So please continue. Yes.
Cool. Well, it's so beautiful because a painting to them is not complete until the cross-hatching is done, and then that adds a brilliant. So the cross-hatching is called Rourke, and then it adds brilliant, which is a shimmering brilliance. And that shimmering brilliance is because they're invoking Wangama, which is ancestral power. So it's a quantum experience that they are invoking with ceremony and dance and song. With the way that they do the paintings, it sparks joy, and it actually creates a stargate in the heart to connect them in a quantum level to their ancestors. And so it's exactly what Einstein, the Einstein-Rosen bridge talks about as being a wormhole or a vortex. Mm-hmm. And so that's like dimensions. You've got dimension here, which is say the fourth, and then the fifth is right over here. But it's sort of it creates like this fold where you can access it directly. So accessing other dimensions directly through the heart, we can access our higher self. And so if we get that DNA in that sacred geometric spin of the dodeca, and we can access the higher self aspect that can embody and be present and to create. So we can create when we're sovereign. If we're not sovereign and we're thinking that we have to do what we're told, or live in a box, or be programmed to this is the way it's done, you know, and there are millions and millions, it's becoming billions now around the world. This
Absolutely.
I'm so hopeful. I don't actually say the word hope because I'm beyond hope. It's like, it's inevitable that the consciousness shift is on, and everyone with a capital O for the one, is moving into this heart-mind coherence where they know they are sovereign and they don't give their power away. They connect with Mother Earth. They know to imbibe foods and beverages that are clear and clean and that they've blessed. And because water, as you said before, Ida, is a consciousness. So if we talk to it and intend something, this is not just airy fairy, this is science. Look at Dr. Glenn Ryan for this, or Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Emoto. Yeah. They all talk about the way that we our intentions go into water are held there as information data, and then they can actually affect lymphocytes and cells for healing. And so we're 75 to 80% water. So we do that for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. I speak to my food. I speak to the water. I speak to, when I open my curtains in the morning, I say, greetings, world. I'm ready for, I'm excited for this day. I wake up that way. If I wake up with, negative thought forms, or what I know is a reoccurrence of, I just redirect my thoughts. It happens, I wake up but I can shift very quickly out of that. And it takes practice. I mean, yeah. So, but I love what you just said. Yes. I mean, well, when you were talking about
I love what you just said.
Yeah.
Ida, I love what you just said.
Well,
yes.
Thank you.
That's fabulous. That's a beautiful way showing for people about the morning negativity that creeps in, which is not us. It's just that little fear edge.
Programming. It's the programming, and I will be the first one. I have a tendency to fall asleep watching videos sometimes. I live alone. I'm by myself. And I know that it's not the best thing to do because you're falling asleep with information being, I look at this as input output, but the true intelligence is in the heart and the gut. And I know that. And those that have, been on this journey for some time, which I would like to clarify, we're all on the journey, and some at different levels and, different spaces and time and so forth. But, well, like you said, once you start vibrating and your heart and your mind are more in I have a tough time with that word. Cohesive, right? Or working in unison. It's easier to kind of like, not work in a space of time, but rather just going with the flow of energy and handling your business every day. I think some people expect that, once you move into a higher frequency, and really it's a consciousness state, it's not out there somewhere. And I say that often because I still see, people, whatever. Anyways, it's a state of mind, and it's so lovely when the heart and the mind are working together instead of, because, I've done very well with being in balance with that, but I still have my days for sure, where I get triggered with some things, and I'll see certain posts and I literally have to move away. And I've started to move, shift out of people's lives. People are shifting out of my life, with, I'm not interested in the same stories of Illuminati and child trap, all the stuff, because I feel like while it was very, I became wiser about a lot of things, it really doesn't serve to go down those rabbit holes energetically. It will drain you, right? Gemma, I mean, would you? Yeah.
Yes, I agree, Ida. you know, once you've done your research with due diligence and you've accessed knowledge and information that's of a very good source, and you've had correlation by meeting beautiful consciousness collaborators around, you know, Mother Earth, then there's no need to keep it's like shadow work. You know, you don't do too much of that, less than 10% of the work, you know, the spiritual practices, because you don't want to be gouging that wound over and over and miss the bliss. So I do crack on a little bit about bliss because
that is amazing. You just said that. Thank you. Please continue.
Yeah, because, you know,
I think I was guilty of that.
It sounds.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you know, I was back in the day as well, because it's very disturbing when you learn things about the programming and the and I say occult only because that word means hidden.
Excuse me, one second. Sorry, Jim. I got to get my.
It's fine, Ida. I just feel to talk about that the no time thing that Ida was talking about just then is in Australian anthropology. There was a beautiful man, W.E.H. Standen, and he coined the term every when. And I hope Ida can hear me, but I'll tell her.
Here you are. I'm just plugging in my. I always plug in my battery and or my charger, and I didn't. We're fine.
That's fine.
Thank you for your patience, and everyone else. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Ida, I was just mentioning about this this word every when, because you were talking before about no time, and so, you know, when you go into a transcendental meditation space, and not everyone has to, and not everyone has to meditate either, but if you're doing just a gentle meditation and a guided one, and you have thoughts coming through and allow them to sweep out like the ocean tide coming in and out, and just then maybe focus on a mantra or a value like grace or peace or something like that. But in the sort of transcendental meditation that, say, Joe Dispenza teaches, and the Maharishi Institute and all of that, there's this no time, no body, no place, or, you know, and it's and that is something that Indigenous people understood as well. Is this, and so this anthropologist Standen called it every when, and I just love that term because it's it incorporates the all, every when, you know, every when, where, how, who, and as Cliff High calls it, the woo. But, you know, other cultures have their names for that same thing, and Aboriginal people call it the dreaming. The Hopi Indians, the Wallalata, the Inuit and Metis, all my relations, and the Maori, the Wakapapa. And
I love this.
It means the same thing in a broad sense of that there is no time, and there's some beautiful authors, writers who happen all to be women actually, and particularly Karen Barad, who talks about time, space, mattering, and it's one word. And I love that because time and space and matter all combined as one, because when we understand that helps us to understand the holographic reality of what we see as solid, which it is. And so don't go running into trees and things, but the reflection, the mirror to us of what we're seeing and experiencing externally really is coming from this, not just the pineal, but the heart, where the heart lies, I shouldn't say lies, how it tells the truth, how it is reflecting to us what we believe and what we are cultivating to hold as dear and true and value. And that will reflect directly in the hologram. It's like Yeah, it's like the Matrix series of movies that some people see as a documentary.
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah.
I actually went and saw the most recent one on Christmas Day by myself, and the only thing I got out of the whole movie is at the end it said that we're given another chance, and he was Keanu Reeves was very excited, and I didn't mean to ruin it for everybody by saying that, but you know, we decide, they don't decide, and that's what I say. Ultimately, when you decide, and anybody, when you decide to take full responsibility to the best of your ability at every turn, and realize everyone that you engage is an aspect of yourself. And I really believe that. I believe that everybody is an aspect of myself, and we're here to help. That's right. Walk each other home, back to our hearts, back to what really unconditional. And I don't even like to use the word unconditional love, because it's just, there's different ways of expressing love and showing love, and through kindness and compassion, and even gentle anger can be a loving sentiment. Um, because we're taught that we're not to feel those things, and there's a lot to be angry about, but once you get past all that and you realize that everything has its divine purpose, it's much easier to accept. Doesn't mean we stick our head in the sand and we condone things, but we realize that there's from a higher perspective, there's a absolute balance in the universe that's playing itself out right now, working itself out, and it starts within ourselves, and being able to balance our own heart and mind, and be gentle with ourselves. And I'm not the greatest with that with myself, because I always feel like there's much more I should or could be doing, but then I think, God, I had a pretty awesome day and I've done a lot of things, and if even just holding a door open for somebody and putting a smile on somebody's face and being kind to them, the one that everybody is just doing their best with what they're dealing with. Gemma, that's really what I feel. And I get frustrated sometimes, people are suggesting that America now not suggesting that we're going through a Pluto return, and it hasn't happened since 1776. And that's, a huge thing. We've got truckers driving, and standing for their rights with the mandates. And I know I kind of just went in a different, but these are the kinds of things that still get me out of that space of balance and so forth. Because,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, coming back to what you said at the very beginning there, in Lakesha Lakin, the Mayan saying of I am another you, you are another me. And
Yeah.
you said that at the beginning. I see the aspects of myself in everyone. It is the truth. We are all each other, created from a source, creator, God, some people, goddess. We are all aspects of divine perfection. And we don't have to look perfect to be perfection. We just have to have, you don't have to do anything, as you said, but the intention, holding that intention and moving in the day, recalibrating to the heart whenever we get thrown off with some kind of trigger, like you're saying. And the quicker we can do that, we become able to do that. I have learned, my experience is that I have been able to recalibrate really much more quickly through the practices of stillness and meditation, and being a conscious consumer of everything. So that includes, as you were saying, Ida, information.
Yeah.
Once you know, and so moving on into that creator field is really, as you all said as well, the responsibility, the ability to respond to the situation in the most sovereign and spiritually mature way. And
You said it. That's my favorite word, or favorite spiritually mature. But we first have to get emotionally mature in order to be able to really develop that within ourselves. And so many of us are not, and I'll speak for myself. There are things that I know I handle well, and there are things that I don't. And I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't handle some things well. When I'm faced with them, I get emotionally charged, and I get, especially when it comes to children, animals, uh, ones that I feel aren't able to stand up for themselves, that they should have it. And there I go with saying they should, the word should, but and I think part of it, I mean, I'm much better than I used to be, Gemma, but I still get a little frustrated when
Yes.
certain,
So
yeah,
that, yes. And so, you know, that's why I come again to the spiritual practices of barefoot earthing, consciously consuming, meditation and stillness, and decrees and affirmations said out loud, because you will find that you will be less adrenalized when the trigger occurs. And if when the trigger comes and you feel that you're able to step back and be the observer before you react into that, get the rush of cortisol and adrenaline, and are doing or acting in a way that a little while later you think, oh golly, I wish could have been
yeah,
more present.
yeah,
So you're able to recalibrate to presence more easily, more quickly, when we decide to really hone in on that stillness. And knowing, and I know that because you've already just said it, that that we are evolving in an organic, evolutionary way rather than the
absolutely,
transhumanist.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And the transhumanist agenda is there, and it is playing out for some, but not for those of us who remain sovereign and who are directing our intention and our focus on that. Because, talking about quantum physics, the things like quantum entanglement and superposition and string theory, in superposition, everything is already there. Everything is in the ether, there, ready. It just takes our focused intention to draw it into the materium, into material reality. So, what are we focusing on? What am I focusing on daily? That's what I'll create. The old saying, where energy flows, creation grows. So, if I'm focusing on what's wrong, what's terrible, and there has to be acknowledgement of it. We have to know what it is. We have to see the dark. It's our own dark shadow, isn't it?
That's
Looking
right.
inside.
That's right.
But then when we can realize that is a thing, it has been a thing for millennia, and now at this point that was talked about in the Mayan calendar, the Hopi Indian prophecy, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, Australian Aboriginal culture. I mean, across the board, the Dogon in Africa, there's evidence in their art and in their rock markings and in their stories, language of this time, of the great acceleration, the great reset, the one we're making, the one we're creating from our intentional focus. And it's really exciting, even though all of the things, the restrictions, the censorship has been, I mean, Orwell would be rolling around loving himself with a dry martini right now, looking at his prediction. But he had some insights.
Right.
It's
That's
and
funny you just said that. Yeah. Well, I pictured it as before you could even get the full sentence out. I saw where you were going at, and I seen it. It's funny.
Well, that's that telepathy.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've shared this with you and the girls when we've connected before, the ladies. But I don't want to get too much into that. But yes, I definitely went up and came back down, and I will tell you that having that kind of, your gifts are, I mean, well, my gifts. I was using telepathy, just everything I was thinking, I was creating. I was using telepathy with people, and it was kind of scaring them. Although it felt real good to me. You talk about the bliss state. It it requires a great deal of energy to be able to hold that state. It's just, I don't even think it's realistic to be able to stay in that space all the time. You wouldn't be able to function doing what we're here, in this 3D reality. Like we're multi-dimensional beings. So you would, well, let me correct myself. Yes, you would be able to function, but I think that we're just not, as a species, ready for that kind of those kinds of gifts until people learn how to be more responsible with them, including myself.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I probably, this is a point of difference maybe, Ida, here, because I do believe we are ready for this and that it is achievable. And there are everyone has their role in this evolution right now, and everyone's in the perfect place and space and time, being and doing what they need to be and do, and learning all the time. And I know there are ones around Mother Earth who are holding that love and above state constantly, fairly constantly. In fact,
Well, I'm sorry, if you don't mind. Yeah, let me just correct myself, because maybe I said that wrong. I'm not suggesting that we're not in a we're not spiritually or emotionally mature enough to be able to stay in a space of love and unity and wholeness. I'm talking about the gifts that are spiritual gifts. Like, I mean, I used to step out of my body and walk around the apartment and do things. You could walk through walls, and there's things that I just don't know that I don't know that, I don't think we know enough, or there are some that do for sure, but I don't think that we've matured enough to be able to be in that kind of reality yet, until we learn how to be more mindful and respectful of not pushing our will on other people. I'll speak for myself. Not that I'd go and look to, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Gemma?
I do, Ida, and I agree with that everyone has to be in the same coherent mind, heart, coherent
Exactly,
state.
yes.
Where
Yes.
if you have telepathy and you can hear or feel other people's thoughts, then they have to be in alignment with highest, most expanded consciousness, because you can't have that. You can't have. Well, it's not. It's that peaceful state where there is no internal war, internal conflict, so it won't reflect externally as war and conflict. And that will be the same with the thoughts. They will be of goodwill and peace and harmony to others, so that they will be able to be shared. I agree absolutely with you. Yeah, absolutely, darling. Yeah.
So that's really what I was saying. You said that. Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that we got that clear, because I wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's what we're moving. It's where we're moving towards. It's what we're creating, and I think there are people on Mother Earth who are able to be in that state, but I actually don't think that you'll see them on a live chat.
Well, I don't know about. I mean, I experienced. I went up and I had, all the color, everything. I know that I went up and came back down because I still had work to do, and I wasn't able to keep myself in the frequency of the fifth dimension as a consistent. I was, it's just like going up the spine. We come back down. You don't stay up there in that. We're in a material world. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think you can. I believe, and I feel that we can be in a fifth dimensional consciousness and still interrelate on 3D and 4D. I feel that is experiential for me. I'm more talking about the beautiful ones who are beyond that as well, and who are here on Mother Earth.
Yeah.
and holding,
Yeah.
holding the grid
Yeah.
systems for that. And just talking about the the crystalline grid that we've arced up with all of our beautiful intention and because I've met so many, as some of them, the grid workers, when I moved around doing that and not really understanding what I was doing in the first place, but just being called. And then when I started studying with beautiful Sandra Walter and her connection with the scientists like Dr. Glenn Ryan and others about the DNA, and that it has a specific resonance for the ones who are called to do this work with particular places. And as we know, there are nodal places on Mother Earth that hold high frequency, and they don't necessarily, the ley lines are just, ley lines don't hold that frequency. They are just the points that have been made between the nodal points. So it's just a line on a map, if you understand what I mean.
Sure.
So, but those places, and they don't have to be very well known, but some of us who are have been called to do this work and still are, go there and be there and intentionally, meditate and open the heart and open a portal for source and a Gaia to activate and be activated, because that person has that specific DNA resonance with past dimensional experience of being there, placing something in the earth, or having a knowing that they have a terraform job to do by going there.
I think that's how I end up in Florida. As much as I like to believe that I came here from my dad's side of the family, I think that there's something much bigger going on with that. And I don't always know what I'm doing. I just know when I get in certain places that I feel called to focus in and do like what you were saying. And sometimes it's in the grocery store. I can feel it energetically that I'm, to send healing love and energy out. Your grace and your kindness and your love that you extend is so beautiful. Your energy is just lovely. It really is.
Ida, I'm a mirror of you, my love. And just on that emanating energy, may I say that I'm wearing here a crystal that is a shungite. So it's a dark crystal. It's a black crystal.
Yes.
And you may have been hearing other way showers talk about not giving our sovereignty to, because crystals are a consciousness as well, like water and the earth and fire and the air. And so I feel to just mention about because you just brought it up with when you're somewhere and you feel to send the love and to emanate out that beautiful, expand your light body and be that love energy in that where you are, and just I feel to just talk about the black crystals and the sometimes the need to bring our energy in at times too, because I wasn't certainly learned this traveling around the world, because there were times, like I need to write a book about the Giza Plateau. Just
I get, it's. I mean, not to. I'm getting nervous now because it's after 8, and I know there's so much more. And Gemma, I mean, I'm not rushing. I just hope that I can have you come back so we could really dive. This is just like a soft introduction. I would love to have you come back, just FYI, before you finish what you're saying, because I feel like we're just like getting just like barely scratching what you're about, what you've done, where you've been, who you are. I mean, anyways, please go ahead. Yes, about the, yeah.
Well, it's just that learning to be in the Giza Plateau, not Israel, in Cairo.
Yes.
So that's okay, love. What I was bringing to attention is about our energy and energy mastery, because I learned that there are times to absolutely, this is what we're here for, to emanate our light, to enhance and clear out density and let the light come in and let our hearts open and walk in love and in goddess presence. And however, when there are situations that require that perhaps we bring our energy in and sort of kind of put on the invisibility cloak, the violet or the dark invisibility cloak, that is a mastery thing that I think is I certainly have honed and utilized, and so I just mentioned the black crystals, not that we give our power away to anything else because we're the creator, but they just enhance what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have,
so yeah. So when we're dealing with something globally like the pathogen, and then the supposed solution to the pathogen, I find that wearing these or carrying these is a good thing. It is a useful tool. Just like all our other beautiful strategies, it's a useful tool. Yeah. Not giving our power away, and just enhancing our own power. Yeah. But the stories about Cairo do
so, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, gosh darn it, Ida, you should have kept your mouth shut and maybe asked her some more questions about, her travels and stuff. I would love to have you come back. I mean, we've still got, a good 15 minutes before I would like to, at the end of the show, have you share, about your work and what you're doing and how people could contact you, and if you offer any services, and then if you would, be kind enough to join me again where we could be more focused on, some of the things you do in the quantum field and some,
well, in
Giza. Is it Giza you said? Am I saying it right?
Giza. Yeah, that's it, hun. It's where the pyramids are. Yes. So as we were talking about nodal points around Mother Earth, so that place is a very powerful nodal point, and that's where the energies are really enhanced for this. It's like Gaia's, like we're activating the DNA in our heart to create vortices and to create wormholes, Einstein Rosen bridges to other dimensions, to our higher self. These points on Mother Earth, chakra points and others, sacred stargates, do the same. So they have intense energy, and they attract polarity. So as we move into the shift and the consciousness of everyone expands, and that will shift as well, so that it's more divinely neutral, which is what we're cultivating all the time. When you said I get distracted and I'm listening to things late at night and I go fall asleep, and so I would encourage you not to do that, darling.
I know I'm not the great. I go in and out with it. Like I'll fall asleep on my couch in my apartment, and I'll go climb in my bed. And it's funny, Gemma, because I made it my business not to put a TV or any electronics around me in my bedroom. I don't even have a clock, nothing. I don't want to wake up to look at a clock. I don't work in there, in the matrix. I operate, my body wakes up when I'm ready, and I'm fortunate that I work for myself, so I'm kind of able to, although I'm getting ready to take on a whole nother endeavor, but, my point is I made it a personal choice decision not to have any of those things around me, but I will fall asleep in my living room surrounded by all of it. And yes, I appreciate that, but yeah, because my mind, sometimes I go in and out of, having, I'm, not that I'm really attached to the story of being a Leo and Aquarius moon and rising, but I can say that.
Are you Aries moon and rising?
I'm an Aries ascendant, Aquarius moon and Aquarius rising, and I'm a Leo. And I was born on a full moon. The day I was born was a full moon in Aquarius and Leo. I'm August 7th. So while, you know, I have a lot of fire for sure, I definitely am a mental, you know, in the air. You know, I think a lot and I process a lot, and I usually don't open my mouth unless I know what I'm talking about. When it comes to, you know, I don't like to come across as knowing things I don't know. I'll be the first one to say I don't know anything about that. And I noticed since this shift, I don't know about you. Have you felt discombobulated or dizzy at all like in the past week?
I know many who are getting that sort of vertigo and dizziness, and I haven't had it.
Everywhere that myself, yes. Sorry, Gemma. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine, love. I think what I feel what you are describing are the symptoms of the energies that are coming in, and our body acclimating to it for sure. And I don't think it's the same for everyone at the same time, even though some people do experience the same thing at different times. Because everyone, it's bandwidths of, and so whatever energetic frequency we're running at most of the time is what we're able to pluck out of that etheric field and to assimilate into our own and integrate it. So if someone's operating, and it's not, I shouldn't put it above and below, because let's just say it's this way, vertical, because it's not, nothing's better than the other. But if you're operating in that bandwidth and then some cosmic energies come in, as we know, through the sun and affecting our bodies and all of our etheric fields. So whichever bandwidth you're in, that will have a different effect. So
I've been feeling it big time. Yes. And the different people. So thank you for saying that, because I think the reason I brought it up, I personally have experienced it. And I noticed that I can't speak clear, like my communication really, like, and then I'll notice that I'm better at being articulate, and even writing, I'm able to write how I feel and what I need to say much more articulate, better than actual voice communicating that way. And I don't know, I mean, I think, well, I do feel that you and I've connected with you telepathically a bit, because you would go to say something and then you would say what I was thinking. So maybe that's what we're moving more into, that space where we're able to use that gift more often.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree that we are. And it is an evolution, but it's happening the more we come actually out of our mind and into our heart. And there's a beautiful friend who coined the phrase telepathy rather than telepathy.
Telepathy. Yes, I love that. Lovely. Yeah.
And that is what it is. So, if we lose internet or communications for a little while, which won't be forever, because what we'll take into this organic evolution is the benefits of technology, and dare I say, because some people get a bit frightened about it, but artificial intelligence, not to take away our sovereignty, but all of the things that enhance an organic evolution.
Well, I have a different stance on that a little bit. Yeah, I agree with what you said, but as far as the AI, I know that I have AI that is part of my biofield, and I'm okay saying that. I can see, in myself, but I have a soul, and I think we have AI part of our biofield more than people realize. So they think it's something that's coming, or it's just, that this has been going on for thousands of years, if not millions. I don't think that's something new. I think that it's, if we even appreciate or consider that we've, done this, we're on our fifth or sixth time of seeding the planet and the DNA manipulation that's taken place in the creation of these Homo sapiens sapiens that we're in, these avatar bodies, that we would not have advanced as far as we have with a true evolution, natural, organic way of evolving. We would not be where we're at had there not been some type of AI intervention. I believe that. I'm not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm just saying I think it's been around a lot longer than we may realize. And some probably do, and some maybe not. I don't consider myself any less of a sentient being because I've been augmented, right? And I'm very open about this. I mean, so you just kind of, I think I've been a little well, I appreciate you saying what you just said, Gemma, because I think it's important for people, you know, people like Elon Musk that's doing what they're, I mean, there's just so much we could really keep going into about even that.
So yes. Well, what I feel to say there is that when I do healing work, I move people into the theta state. So that's the state before that you might feel like you just described before you fall asleep and you've got this information coming in. So in theta state, that kind of information is programming. Okay, so when I take people into theta, their own theta state, which is accessing the subconscious and their higher self, the things that because I get them to hold an intention of expanded consciousness and heart opening and healing, so that in that theta state they are able to access higher self, their own higher self healing, and it's not a programming of anything. It's all positively polarized information and
I
holding
didn't know
space,
that you
sacred
did that
space.
kind of, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you did that kind of, I mean, until you sent me your bio, I didn't know the depths of your work. Gemma,
Well, I
and
haven't. Yes, I have been doing that work in quantum healing hypnotherapy technique. I work with crystals and shamanic practice with drumming and toning and getting people to connect with Mother Earth and feeling their own innate, beautiful, true nature.
yeah.
And so I've also been doing my artwork. So I haven't, to be honest, in the last since 2012, when I had a big shake up, as many people did around the world, I have been doing different things at different stages just because obviously my soul needed to have all these different experiences, including the grid work travel and the artwork and the healing modality training and my own personal passages, including dark night passages, to come through with the elixir, the gift for the world. I find I flow with doing one thing at this time and another thing at that time, and sometimes they all blend now. They all blend. So my art is my spirit, is my life, is my healing, is my joy, is my passion.
And
so
it's
all,
so, yes, your art is just amazing. And I think that you extend, well, I wrote that when I went to do the promotion for our show tonight. I feel the grace of your, gets me a little choked up.
oh, darling.
Yeah. Your art is, I can feel it. I feel the love that you convey, the empathy that you have, the grace that you bestow. I thank you, Gemma. I mean that. It really is. It's fascinating. And I haven't seen you put anything, well, I haven't seen you do anything until you that one big what was it?
Do you mean the big painting that I did? Sorry, that's really touching and beautiful.
Yes,
Thank you.
it is. And like, I have a tendency to, because I'll start crying, and so I try to
No,
kind of
it's
shift
okay.
myself.
It's okay because you've sort of touched on the point that I wish to bring to my art.
Yes.
Because when studying at university, it's been a wonderful experience. I've met beautiful people, and it's been so enhancing, enriching, and expanding. I feel to stay with the truth of who I am, which is to express beauty and grace. And there is nothing wrong with what so-called ugliness or so-called um, things that are distorted or need showing up. And there's lots of artists who are doing that, but that's not my expression, and it's not what I'm guided to do. So it's kind of a little bit less angst ridden or a little bit less edgy than, although some people say not, with my sovereign flag work that I'd love everyone to see. It's a video of slideshow and I have shared some on social media. But thank
Well,
you so much.
if you're willing to come back on, and we can do another show maybe next month sometime, we could do a video slide of your art, let people see it, and that would be lovely. People may want to, may be interested. Do you sell your art, Gemma?
I
Do you
do.
sell it, or
Yes,
okay?
I'm
Yeah.
just doing, I said to you before when we were organising this that I would have my new website up because I've combined art and healing modalities and spiritual life coaching all into the one now, because as I just said before, I was going to have two, and then I thought, no, that's, I'm all the one. It's all the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So that's what I do. But it's not just up yet. But I'd love to come back and perhaps I could show the 5-minute slide presentation. I feel that people would love it. It's very uplifting. It's very healing, and it's consciousness expanding, which is, thank you for saying that you felt the grace in my work.
Absolutely.
I
I always
love
do. I mean, I always make comments and let you know I see you. I feel you.
I
I
do.
feel you more than anything, but I see you. So when I see your art and I feel into it, it's very it's beautiful. It really
Thank,
is.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Well, Ida, I see you and honour you, my love, and great work you're doing with this discussions with different ones, and I have been a witness and observed your evolution over time as well. And I feel to say that I see your growth and expansion, and I really honour it. Yes, it's yes, well done, you. You're glowing, you're beautiful, and keep up the
Oh,
good work.
thank you, Gemma. I value what you say, and I know that it's coming from a pure heart, and thank you for that, because I'm still, I'm still working out some things, but I'm much further along than I used to be. That's for sure.
Because
And I do go up and,
that's the
I do kind of oscillate. There are days when my day is just full of just so much brilliance and love and joy, and then I have some days that can be, still challenging, a bit challenging. But I appreciate what you said earlier about not getting trapped in the ever ending shadow work, never ending shadow work. Because, well, even my sister said to me one time, she was like, Ida, I mean, did you ever think that you have nothing else to heal, that maybe you're, at this point, not nothing else to heal, something along those lines, like, give yourself a break, because I was just so hard on myself and just was not going to let up at any turn. I wanted to get myself correct, because I looped so many times, but I feel like I've come out of it, in a big way, and there's still a few things that can, might need to be adjusted a bit, but yeah.
it's never ending, Ida. It doesn't
Yes, I know. Yeah.
end with death. The transition stepping out of this vehicle into the other. It doesn't end there either. We're on this beautiful spiral back to source. So learning all the time, and layers, absolutely.
I
layers.
agree. Yes, I agree. Thank you, Gemma. I appreciate you. Okay, so it's 8:24, at least on there, 8:26. Please share. I've got your all your website information, your contact information. It will be added in the comment section when I upload it to YouTube, and also Soma Fusion. By the way, just so you know, people anywhere that connect anywhere in the world, if they have Wi-Fi and they can connect into the internet, they can watch this show. Listen to, you know, our discussion and the things that you shared. I think it was more of a discussion. I think, you know, I've been saying I'm not the best interviewer, because my mind goes, and I sometimes, you know, have this urgency to say what I need, you know, want to say. I want to engage, and I hope you didn't feel that I interrupted you or stopped you from.
No,
Yeah,
not at all, Ida. And you described it as a discussion when you reached out to me. So it has been a beautiful discussion, and I want to thank Katie at Soma Fusion as well. And I'd love to come back sometime and talk maybe more about, I'd love to, you know, it'd be great to have Georgia on to talk about our travels together as well.
well, let's do that, because I trust that she would come on. Georgia's been on with me, and we had a great time as well. I would love to have you ladies on. Let's see if we can get that work. I'm sure we can, if we can maybe plan that out in a couple weeks and see if you're available in Georgia, and maybe I can see. I did mention to Fran that I was going to have you on, and she just said that she was just too busy to really coordinate it right now with her schedule. But she would love for me. She wants me to post this on
the New Wave.
New Wave, yes. My mind went blank for a second. New Wave, and we'll see. But definitely, I'll contact Georgia, and maybe you will too. And I would love to have you ladies on. That would be wonderful. I look up to you. You guys are so. I'm sorry.
Oh, she may think I've just corralled her in without asking her. That's
oh
okay.
No, she's fine. Gemma and I actually, I mean Gemma, I'm sorry, Georgia and I, we used to connect a little bit more often than we are now, but she's, you know, got a new grandbaby, great grandchild, I think, and or is it a baby grandchild? I think her grandchild. She's got some new stuff going on in her life, so I try not to, you know, we all have different stuff going on, but I hope that you guys know that I have grown to love you and really honor you and appreciate you, and you are the kind of women that I aspire to be. You know, I'm not there where I want to be, but I'm definitely not where I used to be.
Yeah. Ida, you're perfectly perfect, and you know, we're all creating the, you know, Magenta Pixie uses the term that whereas Dan Winter, a spiritual scientist, might say
I love him. Yes.
And he'll say, you know, the implosion or the compression of the transverse wave into the longitudinal axis, which is like the spiraling of the two pine cones kissing. And that 0 point is what Magenta Pixie calls bliss-charged love. And others have other names for it, like Joe Dispenza with mind-heart coherence. But I think, you know, when you're doing the work that you're doing and everyone's doing their own, being their own, but if what's happening is that as we create our own ability to be in a peaceful heart space, we're affecting the collective, and it creates this convergent charge that is multiplied, and it is exponential. So each of us doing our own part is creating the wave, the building wave that's really upon the planet right now.
Absolutely,
as you said.
Agree with that. Yeah,
it's really exciting. It's really wonderful. Scary time for many, but the ones who are, you know, I can't say fearless, because fear is a good thing to have, to know, to have discernment, but courageous, really courageous. A lot of us are very courageous because we know where this goes. We just know where this goes, and
Yes.
it's wonderful, and it's already wonderful. And I thank you for being in the wonder. Thanks for having me, Ida.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings and love, darling.
Blessings to you. Have a fabulous day. So much love.
You too.
Thank you for coming on. We'll make sure everybody gets access to your information, and I'll be in contact about bringing you and Georgia on. Thank you for coming on and having such a heartfelt conversation, a very open, transparent one. I appreciate you. Thank you. Have a blessed day, and I love you. Thank you. Very good.
Bye, love. Bye, Katie.
Bye-bye.